Welcome to Real Estate with Real Faces, where homes meet hometown heroes. We're your trio behind the transaction. I'm Claire Springer, a realtor.
I'm Ashley Four, a lender.
And I'm Lindsay Michael, a title rep, bringing you real conversations with real people in our community.
From local business owners to everyday neighbors, we're spotlighting the faces behind the places and the stories behind the sold signs.
So grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and let's talk life, business, and all things real estate with a personal twist. Welcome back to Real Estate with Real Faces. Today we're going to be talking about buying versus building. We're going to be talking about cost, financing, some of the things you should be looking for, and does it make sense for your situation to be buying an already pre-existing home, or is it going to be making more sense for you to explore that option of building your dream home that you have been discussing? So I've seen some of my clients lately have been interested in buying up a land and then building on it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but when I had somebody who was asking me what my thoughts were, I said, obviously discuss those options with your lender, but it may not be as cheap as or inexpensive as what you're thinking it. So again, I had another client who recently is under contract to purchase a home, and she was coming to me asking about building one. And what I had reminded her was like, listen, wherever you build a home, depending on like the lot that you buy, I'm very much a person that thinking about the market, right? Realtor. I was like, it doesn't make sense for you to build this elaborate home that she wanted and all of the things in where the lot was.
Right. In the
I'm like,
area.
your market for there, it wouldn't ever make sense. You might not ever get the equity that you're thinking you would want to.
That makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
Even if you held on to it, because of the cost that you're going to be putting into that home to build that home is so much higher than what the houses are selling for in that area. So just again, be mindful of like where you are wanting to build these houses.
And that's something that you talk to your realtor about. Like,
yeah, because like, does it make sense for you down the line to build this $300,000 house in an area right now that is selling at 150? You know,
that makes
does
me
it?
think of, this is kind of not the same thing, but kind of the same thing. The Mishawaka high school, their building trades, they built that house on Lincoln Way.
Yeah.
And it's 2 doors down from my brother's house, which
Yeah.
that's like a $400,000 house.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what it's good for.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
I think it
425
is.
or something.
And my
like that.
sister-in-law, she's like,
You're talking about the red one, right?
she's like, there's absolutely no way that house is going to sell for that much money in that area.
Yeah.
These houses aren't selling for that much.
Yeah.
I mean, because some of those houses on Lincoln Way are big.
Oh yeah.
But they don't cost that much.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of made me think of that, like where you're building this house.
Well, there's a lot of programs like in our area as well that are $300,000-$400,000 new builds. And, you know, if that's what you want, a brand new build. However, because of the area that it's in, the neighborhood, they're trying to revitalize it. So they are offering programs that you could get these houses for like 175. But there is you'd have to talk to those programs because those programs are where you're going to have to pay back a certain amount. But then also like when you go to resell, you cannot resell it
for that
higher mark. You have to resell it because again, they want these areas to be affordable for these new built homes.
Yes.
So
that's understandable.
But like the new builds also, the thing that you have to think of is like when you're talking to your lender, you have to talk about the types of financing, right? Because again, you would know this better than me, but like for one of my clients who's looking for land, their down payment is more than buying a home.
Yes.
So like if they go and buy a home, their down payment may be 3-5%, whereas in buying a land, they're going to be
20%.
Yeah, 20%.
Yep.
Sorry.
I also told them that like they had also asked me, they were like, hey, I think when we were looking up online, a lot of the terms are shorter. I was like,
Yeah.
for the land.
Let me look at my guide.
Yeah. And I think even for the construction loans, the terms are shorter. They're not the 30-year.
So construction loans are a little bit different, but like, so for this, for what we have, there's lot loan, there's land loan. We only have lot loans. And that basically just means it's a plat of land that is hooked up to electric, sewer, or septic or whatever.
Okay.
It's ready for that. Or it's easily accessible.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Land loans don't require that. And you can get bigger plots.
Yeah.
of
The
land
ease
that
of
way.
accessibility. they
Yes.
don't require.
Right. Now for our lot loans, the terms are 15 to 30 years. So
15. Okay.
it could go up to 30 years. Now, construction loans are a little bit different because what we have is a construction to permanent. So it's not just for the construction. The construction portion is, I think, 18 months.
Okay.
But during that period, you're only paying interest.
So here's my question for you. Let's say I have a client who wants to build on a property, right? But they don't have time. They're not thinking about building on that property, that land, for X amount of years.
Yeah.
Can they use the land loan to help purchase the land and then later on go and
Yes.
get the construction loan?
Yeah,
Okay.
they can do that. So what they would do, how that would work is if they already have purchased this land or they have a loan on the land or whatever, either way, what we would do is include that. It would technically be considered a refinance because
It would
we would
refinance like the
refinance the
higher
land.
consuming
Oh,
that.
And yeah, it would
Very
like
nice.
incorporate it all together.
But does it have to be their primary residence? Because while they're building this loan, they're living at their home right now.
But it will, if it's going to be their primary residence, then yes, that's okay.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah. So so what they do is it's fine. During the construction portion, they're only paying, like I said, the interest. And how it works is as the construction's happening, the bank gives the money to the builders. So
Okay.
most of the time, at least when I was a processor and I had to deal with that stuff at a different bank, the builders had to do the work first. We would send out an appraiser to make sure it was done, like they said it was done. Then we would give them the money, like their draws.
Awesome.
So they give us the plans in the contract of like, this draw is going to be for this, this, and this. The second draw is going to be for this, this, and this.
Yeah.
And so we have to make sure that they did those things.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, land loans, and I have to look at the construction loan to see what the down payment requirement is for like actual just construction.
Because I'm assuming you'd have to put down another down payment, even though it's a refund, no?
Yeah, because you're putting a down payment on the construction portion of it. Let me just double check that.
Also, with like, while she's looking that up, when you're going to build on land, let's say it already has access to electricity or the septic and the well, you still have to build and then tap into that.
Yeah.
Which I found from a client last year, and they were looking into that because there was a house that there was already a house there, but it wasn't hooked up. And they got a quote from the city because it could have been hooked up to the city. It was between 30 and 35,000 just to get it hooked up. So again, that's an expense that you're going to have to think about that people don't always think like, oh, but it says that the land has septic. Yes, it might. It's underground. However, it needs to get into the house. So it is going to be costly when it comes into the house. And same with electricity. You have to have somebody run all the electric everywhere else. And I know the big thing right now is barn dominiums and the small container houses. And because we're seeing a lot of that on TikTok too. But again, you're going to have to tap into that to get it into those homes, which is a big expense that some people are not thinking about.
I didn't even know that was a thing until I started working in this industry. I think that I was not. No. The sounds very dumb, but like when I'm about to say it out loud, the fact that not every plot of land has access to it, like that's not.
Oh,
I don't know
You have
why
to look
that
at the
never, I just don't know why that never registered with my brain. I always just thought
Yeah.
like, oh, if this is
Well,
zoned,
especially-
you know, then
yeah.
like obviously like there's an area right here. This is where it has to be hooked up to. Like I literally, my brain thought that every plot had like a tube that comes up in it and that's where you have to hook yourself up to.
There's some houses that we've seen that are like, oh, it has a septic, but it can't be hooked up to city. Again, that's an expense if you wanted to switch that out. But then in Michigan, for me, I'm seeing that like you'll have land that has electricity hookup,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't have no septic. Well, none of that. So you're going to have to do that all on your own.
Yeah.
So again, that's,
Yeah. So
it's just the expenses that people don't think about when they have to go and build.
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So for a purchase or no cash out refi, which would be if you own land already.
Yeah.
If it's your primary residence, you only have to have 5% down.
Okay.
If it's a second home, you have to have 20% down.
So but if it's going to be your primary,
yes,
it's kind of like a gray area.
Yeah, I think it's, if they know that that's going to be your,
because
your
where else would
home.
you be living right now?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, perfect.
So
I will, and then
I think at the end before because it will convert to a conventional 30-year after that.
Okay.
Then they have to have the certificate of occupancy, like
Okay.
that you're going to be occupying this house.
Yeah.
So the other flip side that we said is buying. So I've had some clients lately that, again, when we talked about the building aspect, they've been like, well, I don't want to get an older home. I understand that, like, bone wise. However, you look at the disclosures, because some of these homes, yes, they may be older, but they've had so much remodel done that maybe all the way down to the studs.
Yeah.
That it's practically
Yeah.
a new home.
Yeah.
Yes, the foundation's old. Maybe that being the only thing. Who knows? You know what I mean? Like, but again, there's a lot that are done and they are more costly or more inexpensive sometimes, depending on what kind of house you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, figure that out, talk with your realtor.
Yeah.
But like those kind of things, like, don't be afraid to get an older home. Make sure let's look at it to see if it's had remodel, and then you can always write in that, hey, I want to get a home warranty because of the age and it makes me worried. Like, get a limited home warranty. You can get a premium that covers everything with a small deductible, and that's like about $800 a year.
Well, and something that I've learned recently, but not just from one person in particular, but 3 individuals, separate jobs, all within real estate, all within building or home inspecting, you know, so people that work very hands-on with properties. And like, they've all equal consensus that homes that are built late 80s through the 90s through and through are better quality built homes. Yeah. So just because
Makes
you're
sense.
seeing it does, because that's when trades were an actual passion and talent. Like, to these men putting these homes together, like, it took some serious, you know, power to do. So like, finding that out, you know, you could be a new buyer and like, oh, I don't want to even see that house because it was built in 94. It's 32 years old. Okay, well, it's made out of materials
My
that
house
are like
was built in 1959.
right. And I live in a house that's
69.
57, you know, like, so like, and it's got great bones. It's no problem.
I like my house
structurally, you know.
We're doing our flip
Unique.
house. Our flip house is like 19, I think 30s or something, like 1940, something like that. I mean, like, it's older, and it's when we started like taking things apart, you know, taking off the wall, taking out the door frames. It was very prevalent that like the craftsmanship, that, you know, things we use for plastic or metal was literally built with wood, perfectly fitted, chiseled, and it was like, wow, this is, leave it.
Don't touch it.
Great,
right.
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, just like,
it's better quality.
Yeah, just like when we were looking at even the subfloors.
Yeah.
I just feel like
it was, I mean, they were pristine.
They were just taking more time. Well, I mean, they didn't have the same things that we have now.
Quality was better.
The quality was better. They're taking more time. It just,
which isn't going
people
against.
were also okay with having the same thing for forever back then. I feel like when these homes were genuinely constructed, people weren't constructing these homes to be like, I got to make this easily changeable in 5 years because the new fad, right? It's got to be like a blank canvas that I can make into anything I want. People weren't thinking about that when they were constructing
like
homes.
we're only for
they
my
were
home,
like, these are the purposes of our family. We need a house to fit it.
For like my home, we're only the second owners. Like,
Wow.
they built that house. Yeah. The neighborhood around it grew because we were the second house in our area, and it was all cornfields in front of us and apple trees behind.
Yeah, wow.
I feel that though. My childhood home is the same way. The house that my dad lives in, he built that. We were the first house in the new subdivision, like the crack in the sidewalk from the old subdivision, our house. And then I got to watch my entire row of houses form, and then where there used to be woods and four-wheelers is now like all stuff. So it's cool to see.
I will say that, like, I'm not coming at all home builders, because there are some home builders that do a really good job. I mean,
but I think also, like,
I mean, like, the craftsman, but even the material, like, you can go to the hardware store now, and I remember going, because again, I grew up in a hardware store. Going to the hardware store now, it's like, why are you selling this 2x4 that has a huge crack in it or split? You know that somebody's going to hang that up and it's going to break, and it's not going to last. Like, why are we even putting that on the shelf trying to sell that?
So, well, and the material costs, like, if builders are trying to keep costs down,
they're going to buy expensive things.
Exactly. So it's just, they're trying to make it better, more affordable for people that want to build, but then it's like,
well, in one way is shortchanging the manufacturing process on how those things are even made in lumber yards to begin with. So, like, if the layer of accountability goes down for the product itself, it doesn't matter if you have the best builder on the face of the planet. You can't build a mansion out of Legos and expect it to last.
Oh yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that. It doesn't work out.
No.
Ugh. Good thing title is the same on both sides, though.
Yeah, right?
It really is. There's lots of people, though, that think with new constructions that you don't need title.
Oh, no.
And there's lots of people.
Which is wild.
Which is absolutely insane. Yeah, you would think that. Like, there's been multiple conversations where, with one real estate agent in particular I can think of, he said, he was like, well, it's a build, so it doesn't matter. And I was like, what? And I was like, what do you mean? Did the land just poof out of nowhere one day and you're like, that's my plot? No, like, that land has been here for forever. So we should probably check the history of the land. Exactly. And then you start building. What happens to all the contractors or subcontractors or whoever comes in and does a service for that? How do you know it was paid? Because they told you it was paid? They could have told you it was paid and there's a lien on the property. You could go to, and all of that has to be cleared before closing. Like, that's not.
It could be an old cemetery. That's just where my brain goes.
Dude, you're not wrong, though.
It could be a Native American burial ground.
And that's part of inspections.
Yes.
Too. Yeah. Which is another expense that people are not thinking about when building. The type of inspections that you need to do for land, depending on the size. So if you're doing like a small residential, more likely you're going to do like a soil bearing test and a perk test, right? If you're doing a large building with maybe commercial, you're going to have to do like a phase 1 test, which ultimately if you're again putting a septic on it, you're going to have to go into a phase 2. So, like,
well, and kind
the
of
time-wise for doing those inspections, the cost of those inspections, maybe the amount of land that you're also getting is a lot of acreage.
Right.
You're not going to need to survey that land out because you want to know where you have.
Well, and I'm glad that you just said that, because that's the addition to title is like surveys. Like, you're literally going to want to know everything. You're going to want to know the property boundaries, the background, where the easements are, all of the things. So why would you not?
Yeah, exactly.
Why would you
but
not?
Just like cost wise though, also the land itself may be more inexpensive, but if you're building on it, it might be more expensive. You have to weigh out, like, what's your end goal? What's the size of the house? Excuse me. What's the size of the house that you're looking for? What kind of cost are you looking to spend? And then do that pros and cons sheet. Is that, you know what, we really do want this new build. We want it to be this, 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 and this. Yes, we have the funds for it. This is where we're okay for it. But for my clients personally, they have not thought about some of those expenses that I have brought up to them. Like, hey, you know, if we go that route, you're going to have to do this. You're going to have to bring more down payment. You're going to have to do this. And they're like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
Like, again,
You don't.
the tapping into the septic. Quite a few of my clients did not. Oh, I thought that it already was there. I'm like, it is there. But how does it get to your house? It's still like underground. Like, how does it get? Oh, I didn't even think about something like that. Like, it's just not.
If it's not in your wheelhouse, you're not thinking about it.
Right.
Well, and then I was just
like, electric isn't just easy for you to just take from a pole and like,
no,
that's
illegal.
Yeah.
I gotta go home.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
Well, another thing it just made me think of when you guys were saying like they don't want an older home because of whatever issue they might have. I was thinking of this content creator people that I watch, and it's just whatever, they built their house and they have had so many problems with mold, with like all kinds, like they're suing their contractor. They're like,
and you like, and being before this in home inspections, one of my favorite things to do was have the office manager explain to me what like all this was, because she was fantastic. She had, I don't even understand how her brain worked, but she was great. And I remember her showing me the first new build report that we had gotten from a builder down in Fort Wayne. Nothing was attached. The roof itself, everything that was structurally supposed to be attached was not. It was literally just sitting, like as if someone just.
And it's not all builders, and it's not everybody, and it's not every house, but
also when you're getting a new build, half the time to actually go out there and be checking each stage. Like, don't go and just be like, oh, perfect, I know that the foundation's being poured. Go out there and check after they've poured it. Well, or like once they put the studs on, go out there and check. Once they put that, I'm drawing a blank right now, and I'll get in so much trouble because I forgot the name of it. But the outside wrapping, the weatherproofing. Once that's all on the outside, it only should be like that for like a day or two before you go and put the exterior on. Because yes, it's going to help you with the water, but it can't be getting ruined itself.
Right, exactly.
So there are some new builds that I have seen in our area because jobs were stalled or for whatever reason. I have seen them physically with my eyes, been like, that's bad because I can already see the discoloration. But and then now recently I've seen them start putting things on top of it. I'm like, okay, so that shouldn't have been like that. But again, cost, they can't tear that all off and redo it all. So they're just going to cover it up. Which again, yes, we know it's not everybody, but there's just things for new build, which could have happened back then, but
well, I think
it's very highly unlikely.
The idea of like, it's like the mentality of buying a new car almost. People are trying to place that on homes, and that's almost like, in my brain, it doesn't work like that. It's like a new pair of shoes. You might get blisters.
I will say, like,
new until you wear them in. Like you have a brand new house that nobody has ever lived in. There's gonna be foundation settling. There's gonna be drywall cracks. There's gonna be like the average stuff. There's going to be issues, but you're also the first human in this home to find the problems. So like, it doesn't mean that you're not gonna have any issues. You'll probably have more issues in some situations than you could if you were buying, you know?
Which even if you're buying though, again, depending on the year of the house, make sure you're looking up we've talked about it in other episodes. Make sure you're looking up what was happening in that area.
Commonalities for that.
So like, for example, asbestos, right? Asbestos can be found in drywall. Kyle's he did do a whole apartment complex because they recently found out that there was asbestos in the drywall because of the age of it. So they were, not the drywall, in the trim.
Oh, really?
In the trim. So they tore off all of the trim for the entire complex and had to replace it because of it.
That's a lot.
But again, like there's sometimes it's on flooring. Remember, like don't touch it, don't disturb it. You can lay carpet on top of it, but those are things that you also do have to worry about. Lead-based paint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, usually we don't know about lead-based paint, but I mean, I know that sometimes it's obviously a risk too.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew how to like easily identify lead paint until I started working home inspection. And when it dries and it cracks and it starts flaking, if it's in a grid pattern, like if it cracks in a grid pattern, 9 times out of 10 there's lead in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh, that's what. So now every time I see chipping paint, I'm like,
I've had clients where they're like, Claire, there's lead-based paint. And I'm like, oh, wait, how do you know? Oh, I bought a test off of Amazon. Okay. Don't trust the Amazon tests. I know we love to go shop that Amazon, but like if you really do want to know, actually take the test, because then I did refer them. They did do the test. They were like, oh no, it came back negative. I'm like, yeah. So like, don't be buying all of the tests online and think that that's the way to go.
The end all be all answer.
Yeah, it's not always either.
Gosh.
I mean, there's pros and cons to both of them, obviously. You just have to know what's the right decision for you,
what you want.
Cost effective, like think about that. Financing, learn your situations for financing. You may be able to go FHA, you may be able to go conventional. If you want to go FHA, but then you found a house that's only accepting conventional, maybe going conventional and offering for sellers to give you seller concessions can offset that.
Yeah.
Buying a house, maybe you're buying the land and then you're going to build on it later, or maybe you're buying that construction loan to build it now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's so many different options.
Yeah.
Don't just think that I have to build, this is where I want to go.
Right.
Because there's so many times that we see even, you know, even construction jobs of buying a house and refixing it up.
Yeah.
They don't think about the cost, the end. Again, I'm not planner, so I think of like the end. They don't think about the cost of how much it's going to be. And then they get in a hole and now they have to sell it with half of the work done.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you're not going to get what you thought and you're probably
not going to make a profit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was going to say, you're probably going to make even, if anything, but
do that stuff for you. Like,
or just be smart about it.
If you're adding on or doing stuff because you think it's going to give you value, talk to somebody else and ask them.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, we did talk about it because it's like,
I had somebody reach out to me recently that was like, hey, Claire, I'm thinking about adding an addition onto my house. It would be this many square feet. What's that going to give me? And I was like, honestly, it may give you like, yeah, I was like, it's going to be more costly to do it than it's going to help on your equity.
Yeah.
I did it and did the research and I was like, it's going to give you maybe like at the highest, if it's maybe 5,000, because again, the size that I was like, maybe 5,000. But again, that's pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's pushing it.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, that's going to cost more to even do it. And I'm like, I know. And also you might even not even get that full 5,000 because you're also taking up more of your land. So
yeah, it's just something that you have to
talk
with somebody about it. Talk with an expert.
Yeah. A lot of the times, even when you feel like you're strong and confident in like what you're doing or the decision you're making, sometimes it just takes talking to other people to be like, oh, and like a new idea will pop in your head. You're like, maybe I could actually do it. So like, even if you're set on something, still talk to somebody, ask opinions.
My brother asked me because he was like, hey, Claire, my house, think about my house. And he goes, I'm thinking about adding an egress window in the basement so I can have an additional bedroom in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
How much value would that add? And I told him, and he goes, okay, then we're doing it instead of selling and rebuying. And I was like, all right, perfect. And he did. And they did it. And
it's fine.
Yeah. And it worked perfect because, so yeah, just talk to somebody, cost effective, like.
Because it might work, it might not.
Yeah.
For what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough decision for sure. But obviously talk to a realtor, talk to your loan officer, see the options that you have and see what works best for you. And if you need somebody to go over it with, like, do pros and cons, talk to one of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Do we have a confession?
Yeah, one confession.
Ooh.
I gotta get to it. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Would you like to read it?
Yeah. So this is an anonymous confession. It says, my confession. I have the very best daughter ever. So, funny thing about this. This was not anonymous. I mean, it is anonymous.
They did not put their name.
They did not put their name. However,
I'm gonna
out this person. We read these confessions, and both Ashley and Lindsay both said, well, it's not our moms. And I said, I don't know if it would be my mom. I think maybe it's just one of our viewers, and they just wanted to say that they have a really great daughter. Literally, that's where my brain goes. Like, I love my mom. Love you. I just didn't think that it would be my mom who would write it in. Fast forward a few days, I was with my mom. We were swimming, and I said, did you fill out a form for our podcast? She looks at me and goes, what are you talking about? And I said, a confession. Did you say I have the best daughter ever? She goes, I thought it was anonymous. Instantly laughed. I said, yes, it is anonymous. She goes, well, then how did you know it was me? I said, by process of elimination, it was not Ashley and Lindsay. Could have been a viewer. However, I feel like that's something you would write. She goes, yes, it was from me. So
funny.
Thank you, Mom. I love you very much. Sorry, it wasn't anonymous. But now everyone knows that my mom has the best daughter.
The world knows now.
Yep, the world knows.
It's officially declared publicly to the world. It's obviously fact.
So, love that. And then please continue leaving your confessions.
Yes.
Again, remember, you can leave it anonymous and we'll read it anonymously. Or you can leave a confession and attach your name on it, and we will release your name and tell everybody what your confession is if you want. And it doesn't have to be.
Or if you want us to know, but not for us to tell, you can put that in.
Yes, you
I like
can
that.
say your name, but tell us.
Spill the entire tea to
Yes.
us, but we'll keep it.
It doesn't have to be work related, as you can tell. It could be about friends, family, work, personal. It could be literally anything. We just love.
We wouldn't
The
hear
crazier, the better.
Yes.
Not gonna lie. I literally, before we started recording, we were looking at them, and I don't know why, but every time Ashley opens that Google Docs of those things, I'm like, oh my God, what do we have today?
So excited.
It is. I get giddy about it because
I hope
like
you guys are
it.
excited hearing our confessions, because obviously we've had so many episodes with all of the confessions, even just our viewers, their confession, or their guests.
Yeah.
All of their confessions. I love that. But
It is fun.
anyways, we hope you learned something, and we'll see you next time. Bye.